Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. Global News reports that the Quebec government plans to introduce legislation in the coming days that would allow people in relationships to discover if their partner has a history of domestic violence. This new law is modeled after the United Kingdom's Clare's law, which enables police services to disclose relevant risk information to current or former intimate partners for their safety. The original Clare Wood law was established in the UK, after Clare Wood was murdered in 2009 by a partner with an undisclosed violent past. Quebec's initiative follows a significant public demand, particularly after the murder of Gaby Renaud last year, allegedly by a partner with a history of domestic violence. Domestic Security Minister Ian Lafreniere indicated that the government hopes for the bill to be adopted in the upcoming legislative session with bipartisan support. Several other Canadian provinces, including Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Newfoundland and Labrador, have already implemented similar legislation. Premier Christine Fréchette also promised additional resources for shelters and organizations assisting domestic violence victims during her leadership campaign. The Canadian press reports that British Columbia's legislature is investigating potential changes to its parliamentary procedures following an incident where an independent member of the Legislative Assembly, MLA, Tara Armstrong, avoided a censure motion. Armstrong had used the term blood and soil, a phrase linked to Nazi Germany, and made accusations of cannibalism against First Nations. Remarks she later withdrew in the chamber. However, a motion by the BC Greens to formally censure Armstrong and demand an apology failed because both Armstrong and fellow independent MLA Jordan Keeley denied the unanimous consent required for the motion to proceed. Government House Leader Mike Farnworth stated that the legislature is now reviewing standing orders from other parliaments to determine how to address such abhorrent comments, including whether it can mandate the removal of offensive remarks disseminated on social media. Keeley defended his action by emphasizing the importance of free speech and arguing that Armstrong had already retracted her statements. Other potential recourses, such as recall campaigns and elections, were also mentioned by Farnworth. City News Everywhere reports that the Supreme Court of British Columbia has issued a warning that criminal trials across the province may face delays, relocation, or even the release of suspects from custody. This arises from persistent staffing and space shortages, which severely impact the transportation and holding of accused individuals during trials. Historically, local police detachments would house suspects if daily transport to and from correctional centers was unmanageable, an arrangement that has ceased due to police forces' inability to provide the necessary staff and space. Opposition critic for the Attorney General, MLA Steve Cooner, has sharply criticized the situation, calling it a prime example of the NDP government's gross incompetence and mismanagement of the justice system. While the provincial government and police services are reportedly working on the issue, a long-term solution remains elusive, prompting concerns about public safety. According to Global News, Prime Minister Mark Carney has dismissed the idea of Canada using its energy or critical mineral sectors as leverage in forthcoming trade discussions with U.S. President Donald Trump's administration. In his first interview since entering federal politics over a year ago, Carney clarified that Canada is not contemplating halting any existing trade, which is why he wouldn't characterize these sectors as leverage. His comments directly address previous remarks by U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer, who cautioned Canada against such a strategy during talks to renew the Continental Free Trade Pact. Carney also took the opportunity to commend former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's approach to trade relations with Trump, specifically highlighting the successful negotiation of the Canada-United States-Mexico Agreement, SCUSMA. Carney affirmed his belief that CUSMA stands the test of time and anticipates that a significant portion of the agreement will be preserved during the upcoming renewal process. The federal government is set to significantly increase the maximum fine for airlines that repeatedly violate passenger protection regulations. quadrupling it to $1 million. Transport Minister Stephen McKinn stated that fining airlines is considered a last resort, but the current system is failing. The Canadian Transportation Agency, responsible for handling passenger complaints, is grappling with a substantial backlog of more than 97,000 cases. Last year, the agency levied one-time $2.4 million in fines, including recent penalties totaling $87,400 primarily for airlines not providing clear information on passenger treatment and owed compensation. In an effort to address the overwhelming backlog, the government also announced plans in its recent spring economic update to outsource the air passenger complaints process to a third party. This news is from City News Everywhere. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.